Evening, guys. Welcome to a little special bonus Gunner Talk. Obviously, we've had our first pre-season game, and a few of you can't wait to get a bit of insight into the game from how I saw it. So I thought I'd try and get it up tonight rather than in the morning. You might have to bear with me because I was scribbling like a madman, like something out of the talented Mr. Ripley or whatever. It's like trying to read 12 doctor's prescriptions. So bear with me a little bit. It might be a bit stop-start. What a tidy start to the season. 8-0, great results, some lovely goals, nice bit of play on display. Well done to Boreham Wood. Much better than I expected, especially in the first half. Great showing for a non-league side. Big pump in the arm for them from me. Really impressed with how they went about it in the first half. A little bit different second half. They sort of sat back and changed it up a little bit, so it made the game tougher. But a lot of credit to them first and foremost, because it's not easy playing in a game like that. I'm sure a lot of us have played decent level football, Sunday level football, where every now and again you take a pounding and it's soul destroying. I've been there. It sucks. So well done to them first and foremost off the bat. Next thing, guys, don't get too carried away. Don't be all over Twitter this afternoon telling everyone we're walking the league, because the big tests are coming up. We've not had one yet, so just keep it cool for the moment. We might be doing some bragging later in the season possibly, so just chillax on that one. First of all, the info I had on the squad, that was pretty much bang on, minus Leno, and I got told two different 11s each half, which was also spot on. As I keep telling you guys, through my work, I get bits of information, and I can ask people stuff. I don't get a ton of it because I don't like asking a lot. That's not my job, but I will do here and there. And when I do get it, it's usually bulletproof. So that was good. That was nice to have a little bit of insight leading into the game and an idea of what we'd be looking at. I'm going to start off with the staff, I'm going to sort of start with staff, and then I'll move through the players and a little bit on each player. What a surprise! 4-3-3. I've took a lot of hammer saying that'd be our preferred formation. You all told me it'd be 4-4-2 diamond. Just listen to me, guys. Listen to me. I've not worked in football for 20 years for nothing. No, that's enough of blowing my own trumpet. No, I thought that would probably be what would suit us best, to be fair. And having a few chats with people, you sort of tried to turn me towards our personnel would suit a 4-4-2 diamond a little bit better. I don't mind either, to be honest, but I liked that we went 4-3-3, and I liked what I saw, and it looked like it suits the team, the way Unai's going to do things. It was sort of where we've been scattergun in the past and everybody's just doing their own thing here, there and everywhere like headless chickens. There's a clear defined picture that he's painting, which is the defence defend, the midfield, what might be Torreira, Guendouzi, whoever, brings it out, and then the attackers attack, and that's it. We stick to a defined formation. So I'm really happy with that, because that's for me what we've been missing in tactics wise, is a defined picture. So I was really happy with that. Unai, I just love this guy. I really like him. Not only does he look like an extra out of a mafia movie, but he constantly barking orders, on his feet all the time, communicating, which we haven't seen in Wenger, and having Baldy as his right-hand man. So I like that approach. I as a player, I always liked it, somebody in my ear giving me a bit of a different view on things from my own eyes and my own perspective. So I'm really happy with that. And he sort of is communicating and his demands. It was like, I noticed it for a quick minute when it was Guendouzi warming up. The goalkeeping coach was next to him, warming up with him, constantly giving him instructions and direction. I'm liking that aspect of our team now, which is completely different. His right hand Juan, as I'm going to call him. You like that one? Constant conversations with Unai, constant scribblings. The guy looked like he wrote the 10 Commandments in the first half an hour, a bit like myself. So that's great to see. These guys aren't only watching what they're seeing, they're taking notes, and I like that approach. It's sort of doing it as you see it, not sitting back watching a video later. Well, video, I'm showing my age. A DVD later or whatever, and then doing it. I think it's better to do it as you see it. So I'm really liking that side of things, and also the way they're conducting themselves. it was only a friendly, but setting the tone's important for what they expect from the players in the future and going forward. So I really like that. Don't take anything for granted. This is a chance for him to push his ideas onto the team, so I was really happy with that as well. Another little side note, captains, first half check, second half Rambo. Is that a good indication of 2 of his 5 captains? I'd think so, to be honest. Definitely. I wouldn't think he'd do it if they weren't in his mind, so I think that's probably 2 of your 5 captains there, if anyone's interested in that. I'm going to go through the players now. I'm not going to give them a rating out of 10 because I think it'd be unfair to the guys' second half, because of the Boreham Woods tactics and our own team cohesiveness. In the first half, we had a few things that worked in our favour, which we didn't in the second, especially having Ober and Lacker up front, them getting a bit of a time together at the end of last season. It'd be unfair to me to judge the lads in the second half against the ones in the first, so I'm going to hit it all with an open mind and judge them all fairly. So, check. He did alright, very little to do. I don't want to hammer him because he's obviously going to be in the setup next year, although I don't want him to be. He's obviously going to be in it now, seeing that he was given the captain's armband. I'm reading into that a little bit. He just fills me with zero confidence. I just want to close my eyes and hide behind the couch every time the ball goes near him. So he's going to be in the setup. I'm going to have to get over it, but that's that one. Hector, he looked well. Hector, his usual game, up and down. Yeah, I was happy with that, and it's going to be needed. This way Unai's going to play the game, so he's got a job on his hands this year, and he's going to have to work a lot harder than a lot of the rest of the team, I would have thought. My only concern with him still is, I've noticed it so many times with him, he switches off, especially with runners on his shoulder coming in from behind and then nipping in front of him and doing him. I'm sure that's something Unai and the lads are lying out of him, especially if Baldy gets to play a part. So that's a small concern, but he's got the rest of the game for me. Those first 2 seasons he had at our place, he looked like the best right back on the planet, so that's still in there, so I'm happy with him. Socrates, nice chance to see him. He's an old head, which is what we need. I noticed he's a leader. He might be another one of the captains for me. Constantly barking instructions. He runs that back line, which is what we need. We've got good defenders. He's also a good defender, but we haven't got any bosses. We've got sheep, not shepherds. He's a shepherd in my opinion. And yeah, he looked tidy to me. Looks a little bit slow, but we've had Mertz and dealt with it. I think as long as you've got that mixture of a quicker centre back with a slower one, I think you can get away with it if they read the game well, which to me looks like he does. Looks a real strong presence, big brick shit out of a bloke, and he looks calm on the ball as well. He did one thing where he did that flick over his head and it went back to them, which wasn't great, but I think that was just him being a little bit cocky and sort of undermining the opponents today. I don't think you'd see him doing that against Man City first game of the season if he plays. So yeah, I like what I saw of him. You're not going to see a world class centre back out of him. If you were, that might have been 5 years ago. You're not going to see it now. But for what we need in our project, I think he's going to be a big positive. Mavro, the young man, I like the fact that he played the 2 together. Obviously being able to speak Greek is a help towards both of them, to be honest. It helps Socrates bark his orders at Mavro and him understand, and it also helps the other way around with both integrating into the side, so I like that. He looks pacey, which I didn't notice much last season, and he looks like he's got an old head for his age. The only downside to him, I think, he's just a little bit naive at times, but he's a kid. You've got to expect that from him. You can't hammer him for it unless he starts doing it 20 times a season. But no, I really like this kid, and I think he's got a massive future at the club over the next 10 years. If we can keep hold of him, which I'm sure, if our project goes the way it should be, I can't see being a problem. So, yeah, only positives from him. Ossie Tutu, not a player I know much about. I've seen a few youth games with him in. He looked really solid. Looks a good unit of a lad for his age. And I think he could be a very tidy squad player because he's a right back playing left back tonight. I think if we were looking to have somebody that can sort of be a backup for all of it, he wouldn't be a bad shout in my opinion. Will he go out on loan though? I think maybe probably. I think Unai will probably take the chance with Litchi, Hector right back, and Saïd and Nacho left back, and then maybe if we were unlucky enough for 2 on each side to be injured at the same time, maybe switch a centre back out there and we'll just have to cope for a few games, or Ainsley at a push. But yeah, I'm really excited. I was excited by him. He looked a lot better than I thought he might be. So yeah, that was a big thumbs up. And hopefully, if he does go out on loan, he progresses, and we see a much better player come back next year. Willock, he's a player I like. He looked all right. Looks a decent little box-to-box player. Seems to spread the ball about well, as much as getting his toe stuck in. So I was quite happy with him. He just looks a little bit lightweight for me yet for that type of player, and he doesn't look up to speed at all. He looked like that last season, he looks like that again this season, just a little bit off the pace. So he's one for me I think we should definitely see out the door on loan. I'd like to see him to go to a newly promoted side, or a lower Premier League side, or a top half Championship side, and really get that game time and that game craft under his belt. So it was a thumbs up for him for me, although I don't think he'll do anything for us this season. I think for the future he could be one to keep an eye on. Ainsley, my boy, I told you guys before last season that he was the most ready youth player, and I still stand by that. He looks ahead of his time, definitely, and for his age, new contract. Unai talking about him directly has obviously given him a massive boost of confidence, and I'm not sure he needed it, but you can't give somebody enough pats on the back. So I was really happy with his play. He had a lovely half for me, defence and attack, moving from one to the other. I think he's going to be a real big player for us this year, especially in cup games, and he's got a huge future. And he's played with Reece for the assist he got for Ober's goal. That lovely little move, lovely little bit of skill, and a great calm flick to the back post, deep cross for Ober just to nod it in. So yeah, I was really impressed with Ainsley, really impressed with him, and I didn't think that'd be any different, to be honest. Emile Smith-Rowe, he's a new one for most of us. I've seen him play quite a bit, and I was really excited about him, and I'm loving that he's been bumped straight into the first team squad. And I think he'll help a lot of people forget about Jack quite quickly. And maybe that was the reason why it made the decision for Jack to go a little bit easier, is he might not be happy with the first team, not getting first team opportunities, but someone like Emile will be, of just stepping in and stepping out at this point in his career. So I think that probably made the decision to let Jack go a little bit easier. He absolutely oozes class, this lad. He makes it look like the rest of the world standing still when he's got the ball, and he knows what's coming and he's already ready to react. He looks like a Rambo Mark II to me. And the one thing that I think was another selling point with maybe letting Jack go and keeping this lad is he looks like he's still got that belief that I can just ghost anybody and I can do whatever I like, whereas I think maybe Jack, through confidence and injuries, had lost that a little bit. So yeah, I've got nothing but big things to say about him. And seeing the two of them in the first half and the signing of Guendouzi, have we just seen our future? I think quite possibly we have just done. I think that's a midfield three of Guendouzi, Ainsley Maitland-Niles and Smith-Rowe that could carry us, be a backup in the immediate future, but in the long term, over the next 10 years, that could be massive for us. And having them all at the ages they are now is absolutely huge. So I'm really excited. I was a bit disappointed not to see Guendouzi in that three instead of Willock, but hey, I'm not crying over it. We'll see it at some point, I think. So yeah, that was a huge positive for me in the first half. Reece Nelson, fabulous. He looked really sharp. Cracking goal, really calm to just chest it down. Top finish on the volley. It's not always easy. He made it look easy. Great goal, great wing play, and he's still a really exciting prospect for me, and somebody who's definitely going to be in and around the first team. Yeah, nothing but big things to say about him, and really excited for his future. Laka looked a little bit rusty to me. I know a few of you might think that was a bit harsh. His overall play looked good, and I think he's going to get goals, but I think he might be overshadowed a little bit by Ober because he's that bit more exciting. But it's sort of like watching France. You're watching the Dembélés, the Mbappés, the Mbappés, whatever, your Fekir's, your Griezmanns. You're not paying attention to Giroud, and he's doing all the dirty work, making all that other play happen, making runs, opening spaces up. So I was really happy with that, although he looked a little bit rusty. Great ball into him from Ober and a cracking finish, and he was unlucky not to get an assist. Nice calm play in the box when he squared it to Ober, I think it was, who had a chance and he just didn't put it away. But yeah, nothing but excitement for this guy. I was so excited for when we signed him, and I'm still just as excited. Ober. We're going to run out of superlatives to this guy, I think, unless his career at our place runs out first. What a player we've got on our hands in this guy. Fucking absolutely electric. Absolutely ridiculous, that first goal. Just it shows the confidence of the man. It was just a little roll out of the feet, and you just knew where it was going as soon as it left his foot. And for me, I was drawing the curtains, getting the marge out and the tissue 7 minutes in. I couldn't believe it, you know. And that pairing looks like it's got an incredible understanding. Obviously, getting a chance to play together. It's one thing Wenger did for us. He's got them two playing together at the end of last season, so they're going to hit the ground running this year. And I personally expect a minimum of 50 goals between the two of them this season. I don't think less than that will be good enough. Cracking finish for the goal, great movement. A lot of you don't think he's a winger, but I think he can do that job, and I think he'd do it much better than Laka being out there, and we want to see both on the pitch at the same time. So I think he looks absolutely dynamite on that left hand side of a free, to be honest. Doesn't stop him getting goals, as you've seen, doesn't stop him being involved in play, and also opens it up for Laka as well, and whoever it is playing on the other side. And he shows you he's not just electric, you know, Usain Bolt pace. Like his headed goal, you know, quick moving and then to the back post, and he was there in the right place at the right time. So he reads the game really well. He's got a good football brain as well as pace. He's not just legs. And his penalty to top off his hat-trick, I loved it that he sort of had a little chat with Laka, and Laka was like, "Nah, man, go on, your turn to get the hat-trick, bro." So my strikers, I could cry just at the thought of it, to be honest. Was that the best penalty you've ever seen? Made Harry Kane look shit. Five De Gea's weren't saving that bad boy. That was right in the old postage stamp. And yeah, unreal first half performance from him. Absolutely stunning. Can't wait to see what he gets up to this year. So yeah, that was the team in the first half. Like I say, big positive is that front pairing. What I also liked though was how Reece worked in that free as well. He didn't look out of place at all. Absolutely delighted with the link up with the main two boys, and including Reece as well. So that was lovely from me. So yeah, overall analysis on the first half was a solid display. Great up top, little bit shaky at the back, but that's to be expected because that's where all our changes are at the minute, are at the back. So that was nothing but expected for me, and I think that'll get better the more experience they get together and game time. So that was the first half for me. Second half, like I say, is a little bit different because Boreham would completely change tactics, and they sat so deep, and I just don't think they wanted to get pounded 15-0, to be honest. So they sat much deeper, made it much tougher for us, and plus we had a much less cohesive 11 on in the second half. So don't be fooled if you feel like the second half performance wasn't as good as the first. I think although it wasn't as impressive, it was still decent for me. So don't give him too hard a time on what you saw in the second half. Martinez, I know a load of you know I think he should be our second choice goalkeeper and vying for first choice this year, and I think it'll be a crying shame if he's not, and Czech's in there in front of him. So I was a bit gutted that he didn't get to make a few saves, because I know he's capable of it and show what he's really capable of. So yeah, he was a spectator really. A little bit disappointed by our fan base that no one handed him a Calippo or a Cornet, you know, or a 99. That was poor form, that guys. Come on, he was just stood there. You could have definitely let him have a licky lolly. So that was a little bit sad, but moving on. Jenko. I'm going to try and not be mean, but he's just average. He just does the same thing. He just ploughs up and down with no real thought to it. And I think he's one that's definitely gone. One good cross, which was a very good cross, but he's just not for me. And his injury record's horrendous as well. And when he was at Birmingham, I think it was, he didn't do a tap anyway when he played, and they really badmouthed him. So I think I think definitely he's gone. Holding and Mustafi at centre-back, I'm not even going to bother talking about him because they had to do nothing really. They were another 2 spectators. Saeed, he did alright, he was ploughing up and down, which, like I say again, I think the wing-backs, there's a lot going to be expected of him this year, and putting a lot of graft in. So yeah, he looked alright, he looked decent, and like I've said, he's my first choice for next year, so I want to see him get some more game time. Chambers, a little bit of an odd one because he was sort of playing centre-back / centre defensive mid, and he looked a little bit lost there, to be honest. It's just not his bag, to be honest. I'm not sure he's capable. I'm not sure though if that was obviously he's been given a new contract, so I don't know if that was a little bit of a ploy for him to become our ball playing centre back. He's not going anywhere, like I say, because he's signed this new contract, so maybe that was Emery saying, look, I want to get you more confident on the ball, and when we play my philosophy, when you play, you're going to be the guy that brings it out the back line. A lot like how Harry Maguire's been doing it in the World Cup. You're the guy that can sort of step out, confident on the ball, and either make a little run yourself or play it off. So that was what I saw in it. I might be reading too much into it, but that's what I got from it. Rambo, guy's just an absolute pimp, and he's another one I sort of run out of superlatives for him. That disallowed finish, that was absolute filth. There's not many players in the game that'd even think to do that, never mind pull it off as exquisitely as he did. The only problem I have with Rambo is his football brain is that good, and he's that far ahead of the play in his own mind that he just makes other players not look up to it, and I think it's a little bit harsh on others. He's just too ahead of the game for a lot of, especially the young lads who he was playing with. They don't read the game as well as he does yet, and know where to be, and know that tiki-taka quick passing. So yeah, big thumbs up for Rambo. He's looked ready and raring to go. Just signed a thing, brother. Please, because I want you to stay, and I'm sure everyone else does. Mickey, he looks in cracking shape, Mickey. Obviously, we all saw the pictures when he left United last year of that gut. You know, he looked like he was 4 months into pregnancy. He looks a machine this year. Really lovely, tidy link-up play, very, very much like Rambo. Lovely little cool finish for his goal as well, from a lovely little flick from Eddie. Top signing in my opinion, and he's only going to get better and better from what we saw last year, and he was impressive enough last year, and he's super versatile. He can play anywhere from sort of in the mid, creating the play, and across the front line. So yeah, only happy things about Mickey. Perez, my first thing with him was what was going on with his shorts. He was like a butcher on a Saturday morning displaying his meat and his wares in the window. It was a bit of an odd one, and I couldn't stop. It worked because I just couldn't stop staring at his face, to be honest. Maybe I've got little gay tendencies that I didn't realise I had before, but he looks really fit and hungry. Lovely cross for Eddie's goal, and his all-round play looked tidy. For me, he's definitely better than Wolves, and he will be out wide. And I'm really glad he's back, and I think for a lot of us, it's like signing a winger. So yeah, I'm really excited to have him back. Eddie, I just love Eddie. If the timing was right, I'd think he was definitely ornery and right. He had spent a quiet 5 minutes together somewhere, because he screams their love child to me. He looks like a nice mix of both. Cracking Giroud-esque finish, that we got used to with Ollie, that little front post run, and then just that little flick to just sort of curve it and just sneak it in front of the goalie. Love that. He looks hungry. I think he's really ready to prove himself this year. He proved he's more than good enough for the youth setup and ready for the full big time stuff. His movement's great. My only minor criticism is he needs to bulk up a little bit. I think playing against the best centre backs in the Prem, I think he'd get bullied, but that's a time thing. He's still young, and I want to see him stay in and around the squad and playing the Europa and the Cup game. So huge thumbs up for Eddie. Loving your work, man, loving your work. Jeff, I like Jeff. I've always liked him and don't think he's had a fair chance at our place. He's another one. He's very versatile, and he looks really keen to prove himself. He's another one with great feet and movement. Lovely little worm burner finish from 20 odd 30 yards out as well, and he looks quite calm and assured. Just a little bit nervy still, but I think that's because he needs to get up to speed with this higher level of play. So will he go out on loan? I really hope not. I'd much rather see Wobie go out on loan and keep Jeff in and around for sort of 10 or 20 games this year, because I don't think that'd help Wobie's case, especially if that's playing out wide, and I just want to see Welbs gone. So yeah, I was really happy with the little cameo Jeff had, and I love that he looked pissed off when he went off as well, because I think he wants to prove himself. Guendouzi came on for him, little cameo. I like this lad. From what I saw, he sort of moves like a canal barge, not in a disrespectful way. He's just very, what's the word, serene in the way he moves around the pitch. You're sort of not going to see him tearing past someone. He just sort of glides across the grass. Got a long gait on him because he's a big tall lad. So yeah, he looked tidy. I like the way he sits in deep. And I think he could be a really good foil for when Torreira doesn't play in the cup games. I'm not convinced by El Neni, as a lot of you aren't, and although he's been given a contract, maybe this lad, maybe it'll be a mix of them in the cup games. I'm just not sure, but yeah, really happy to see him get a little cameo and just dip his toe in the water, and I'm sure we'll see more over the next few pre-season games. So that's that, guys. That's all the players run down. My analysis of the second half, I thought we were decent. I didn't expect us to surpass the scoreline in the first half, especially the way Boreham would set up in the second half. But I was impressed with it. My only criticism was I felt Jenko should have come off for Guendouzi, slip Callum into right back, and let that front move Jeff up to in the front three with Perez and Ede, and then have a midfield three of Guendouzi sitting deep with Rambo and Mickey pulling the strings. But maybe he kept Jenko on to get him in the shop window, to get him out the door and get a few potential suitors taking an eye. So yeah, that was it for me. There wasn't really a defensive a threat to our defence, so that's an hard one to gauge yet, but we're going to find out more in the sterner tests we've got coming up. Tidy goals, nice overall play, and a satisfactory start from me, guys. I don't know what you guys thought, let me know. What's up next? Is there going to be people going out on loan the more the picture starts to take shape in these pre-season games? I'm sure there's definitely going to be some signings. I still think there might be one coming the door, although I'm not entirely sure we need it. I just don't know on that one, but my info was 6 in 2 out, so I'm standing by that, which means one more's got to come in, and I think it could be Dembele. No, I don't know, but maybe if he becomes available, I think that's very feasible. I know a few other fan bases have mocked me, but to you, don't care what you think. And yeah, more players coming back from extended breaks and the World Cup. So yeah, it's exciting, guys. Up next, game wise, this is where the big test come, and we'll really see if we've, this will be the real acid test, and see whether we can cut it this year with what we've got as a squad. Atletico Madrid next, then PSG, then Chelsea. So yeah, guys, that's where the real hard work's going to start, and when we really start to see if we are top 4 contenders. I thoroughly believe we are, as I'm sure most of you do, and that's all I expect this year. Decent cup runs, especially in the Europa League, and a top 4 finish. Hope you've enjoyed the analysis of today's game, and I hope you enjoyed the game. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and it's now time for a couple of beers and go to bed and dream about those beautiful finishes and build-up play. So enjoy, guys. Thanks for the support once again, and enjoy your Saturday evening. Take care.